In the beginning, there was the mighty bumblebee.
Hasta la vista, baby. I'm gonna take you out.
Aw, come on, can't a guy get a break?
Welcome back, and today we're going to talk about some stories, about some Speedway stories. You know, I wasn't the best Speedway rider of all time, I must admit.
Beavis, he wasn't the best.
But I have some history, and I'm going to tell you about it from the early beginnings.
And no, this show's not about my bowling days. Now stop it.
Some of the things that you may not know about me. But we're going to have a good time. We're just going to have a chat session today. We just finished the 6-part series of the best brothers and the 75 best riders of the 1970s. So we're kind of tired, right? We had a long series. We're going to have some fun. We're going to take a little break. But we're going to talk a little bit about my early days of Speedway. When I was just a young boy, I wanted to race Speedway. But I didn't have any brothers that raced Speedway. My mom and dad, they hated Speedway or motorcycles, and I had to work for it. I had to have a paper route. I had a paper route for the Orange County Register.
Papers, get your papers here. Come on, there you go.
And I saved all my money, except for about 20 cents every day I'd buy a donut.
Hey Homer, these donuts are good. 25 cents. Oh, yum.
But other than that, I would go ahead and I would save my money until the time was right. And when I was 16, I was flipping through the register and I saw a JAP Speedway bike for sale. I didn't care about what brand it was. It was a Speedway bike and it was Danny Becker's. And I went over there and I bought it for like $750. The $750 I saved from my paper route.
You know, you must be mad. Yep.
I bought that JAP. It had a 22-inch rear tire. I had no idea what that was. I would drive it up and down my street. It was like a dragster. It made so much noise. It had a straight pipe. All my neighbors hated me, and my mom just freaked out. She's like, "What are you doing?" And that bike was fast, and I didn't know what I was doing, really. I went to the OCIR practice track, and I just rode that thing, and the first lap I did, I just fell down, like I dropped it. I got that crash out of the way and I said, okay, it's over. Now I'm gonna ride the Speedway bike. And I was riding it a few times and I quickly applied to be a racer at the Costa Mesa Speedway.
The SRA, getting your first Speedway license, number 339.
I was just 16, so I could apply for my license. I took my rider's test at the OCIR and I did that crash again. It was a little better the second time. And I was able to race.
Somehow this guy got a Speedway license.
But one thing, I had no leathers and I had no money either. And I was looking through the register again. I had a good time in that register. And I saw a pair of Speedway leathers for sale. And I said, oh, I gotta have those because the rule was in the SRA you couldn't race Speedway unless you had a pair of leathers. So I went over to Trabuco Canyon and it was number 30, Ron Taylor. What's his name? Ron Taylor or something like that.
Yeah, my name's Ron Taylor, don't wear it out.
And I went to Ron's place over there and he was a little guy. He was like 5'5" and I was like 6 foot tall. And I was like, this guy was little. I was skinny, but he was little and skinny too. So I tried his uniform on and it was very tight. I walked around like a mummy, like, ah.
I cannot move well, but I'm going to try and race.
But I said, I have a Speedway uniform and I will buy it. It was like $50 or $75 or something like that. And I bought that uniform. It didn't even fit me. It was super tight, super small. But I had a Speedway uniform and I duct taped my number. It was 339. I duct taped that on the back of my uniform. And then I taped the name Bryan on silver duct tape.
Doesn't matter how you do it, you just gotta do it.
I had no stitching or anything. I just ripped all of his stuff off and put my own stuff on. I was ready to race at Costa Mesa Speedway.
Sometimes in life you just have to go for it.
It was the end of the season, so there's only a couple matches left. And I went on as a reserve and I was able to get on and race. And one of the times I raced, I was there and there was Dennis Galos, the 16-year-old, we're the same age.
I think this is not a fair race.
Dennis Sagalos, and he was there in his beautiful white and orange leathers, kind of like a Penhall style. And it was gorgeous. He had these beautiful leathers, and I saw him, and I'm looking down at my leathers and saw the silver duct tape Bryan on it, and I said, I'm gonna beat that guy, you know, I don't like him. He got all that nice stuff, and look at me, I got this like nothing. So we had a race, and he was on the 10-yard line the first race. It was Dennis Sagalos' only D3 ride ever. He was a famous racer if you know much about Speedway. And he just blew by me like the first turn, and he just blew by everyone, and he won that race by like a half a lap. And he went ahead and blew the main event away, and he was never seen in D3 again. I was styling it. I had no gloves. I just had my bare hands. Who cares? Real men race with no gloves. Well, I don't know if that's true. But I had no gloves, and I had these boots. I got Ken Maley to do a steel shoe from me. He just put BB on it. I'm like, okay, just whatever. And we're racing. I was only 2 weeks on a Speedway bike. Like I say, Dennis Sagalos had been racing for a couple years, practicing, and he was an expert Speedway rider by the time he was 16. I was on a bike for like 14 days, 10 days, and I didn't know what I was doing, riding that 22-inch tire. It was crazy, and I wouldn't ride that today. And I just went out there and tried my best, and I did a couple of spins where I was crossed up, and you know, I didn't do that well. And I was kind of a rough, rowdy rider, and I didn't have any style, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Goal!
But I was there at Costa Mesa, and I was racing Division III Speedway.
Riding to the moon, vroom vroom, skr skr, vroom vroom. I'm riding Speedway.
That was the end of the first season on a Speedway bike. It was only like 2 weeks or 3 weeks long. And I didn't do that well, but I was very proud of myself that I had the courage to go out there as a totally raw Speedway rider, give it a go, and kind of go before my friends and probably look like a fool, but so what? I was out there, I was doing it. The main thing in life that you're out there doing it. You're not just dreaming of it. You got bit by an ant. You're doing it. And I was really happy, but I was like, you know what, Bryan, you have a long way to go. Like, you need to like develop yourself. And I kept working on that, I think the paper route, and I saved some money. And I asked people, I went up to Ken Maley, and I was riding over at Ken Maley's practicing, and I thought I was a pretty good rider. And Ken Maley says, Bryan, come here. He says, you know what, you need some Speedway lessons. And I said, yeah, I could probably use some Speedway lessons. And he said, I'll tell you what, next Saturday, Dangerous Dub Farrell is coming to my ranch, and he can give you a weekend private lessons for $300. And that was a lot of money back then, like $1,000 today. And I had $300, and I said, okay, Ken, let's go ahead and have that next week. We're gonna go ahead and have Dangerous Dub give me some lessons. And that was probably the best $300 I ever spent.